Hello, this is Gio, and look what I have here. I have a whole bunch of old retro gaming cartridges, some Nintendo, Super Nintendo, some 64. Here's a Genesis cartridge, and hey, it's becoming more and more popular to collect and preserve old gaming retro consoles and cartridges like this. But there's one issue when you buy these old cartridges. So you go to a flea market or some kind of retro convention and you purchase one of these cartridges, and then you bring it home to your consoles, you stick it in there and turn the on button and it doesn't work. You might get the blinking light of death, from your TV, but there might be an easy solution. And this solution is just simply to clean these little connector pins right here. So all these gaming cartridges have these kind of pins. Some have more or less. I think the NES has 72, but you can get even just considerably fewer. But these things get gunked up. I don't know how many times you've done the old blow technique, but you do that and you're getting spit and stuff in there and it kind of builds up. Also dust and debris gets stuck in there and it kind of builds up, and these little connectors, let's see if I can zoom in here. You can kind of see them there. Oops, let's focus. There you go. Each one of these connectors, and this one's pretty clean, but it's still a little bit dirty and can be cleaned. And you can get them on both sides. Some cartridges only have them on one side, most have them on both. And these get really dirty. And if they get dirty with spit and debris, they just may not contact the pins in the console itself, and it may not play well. Okay, so how do you clean these? Well, the easiest way and best way that to clean these is just to get yourself some isopropyl alcohol, high percentages. Now this stuff is not for drinking, it's primarily for first aid, but you want to get at least 91% alcohol. And then you also want to get some nice good old Q-tips or equivalent. And we're just going to dip some of these Q-tips in the alcohol and start cleaning. Now some people say, oh, don't use Q-tips because the little fibers can get stuck in there. But as you can see in these little cartridges, it's pretty much just a flat little piece of plastic with the contacts there. And so there's not many little spots that the fibers can get stuck on. Now if you are cleaning, let's say, the pins in your console itself, I do not recommend sticking Q-tips in your console because there are some things that this could get stuck in. But for the cartridges, it's just fine. Okay, so what we're just going to do is take a little bowl here and just pour a little bit of the alcohol in the bowl. You don't have to fill it up. Just it does have a little bit of an odor, so if you don't like the smell, make sure it's well ventilated. And then you're just going to take your Q-tip like this. Just dip it in. Don't get it massively saturated, but you're just going to kind of get in there and start rubbing it back and forth. And kind of go up and down a little bit. Let's see if we can see this here. Kind of up and down. You can go back and forth, up and down. You can already see the dirt that's coming off here. So these pins are definitely dirty. And so you just kind of work them up, just around. You can do your little thing, kind of rotate the Q-tip because you don't want to just rub that dirt around. And of course you can always, if it gets too dirty, you could always just use the other end of the Q-tip and keep on working. And you just kind of want to keep on doing this until you kind of get the Q-tip just kind of starts remaining clean. So you do that for a little while and that looks pretty good, and then you flip it upside down and do the other side. So now this will not hurt your cartridge. Now isopropyl alcohol is used all the time on electronics like circuit boards, etc., to clean them up. So people really like the alcohol because it doesn't really hurt anything, doesn't really rust, and it evaporates really quickly. Now you don't want to replace this cartridge in your console until it's dry, but again the alcohol just evaporates really quickly. And so you do this a little bit and it looks like it's pretty good. I'm going to use the dry side just to kind of dry it off a little bit like that. Blow it out and let this just sit for a few minutes just to make sure that all the alcohol is removed. And hopefully your game should play much better. Now after you do clean the pins like this, if your game is not playing well, now one of two things. Well, it could be your console. The pins in your console, it has similar pins. To contact these pins, those pins can be dirty as well. You also, maybe just the alcohol and the Q-tips are not cleaning this adequately. Now, there are ways you can actually open these little cartridges up, remove this, and they say you could even use an eraser on this and kind of do both sides. Now, that's kind of the last thing I would really recommend. I would probably try to clean the pins in your console first. Now, when you do pick up a new cartridge, you know, they're not new, they're old, and they've been probably used quite a bit in the past. And so the first thing before I even put this in my console, I would clean the pins and get them clean. The reason is because if you have dirty pins on your cartridge, you're just going to dirty the pins in your console, and they'll just dirty your console pins for the next cartridge, and you'll have to go into your console to clean that. So that's my tip, and I hope this video helped you out, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.